Hey there, Kendall here with an afternoon conscious coffee without the coffee. Um, Hopefully this is going through because my service is kind of coming and going. I'm at my office and my service is always coming and going here. So, gee, well, I guess welcome to the new year, right? Welcome to 2019. How amazing is that? I don't know about you, but the start of my 2019 has definitely been adventurous. It has been adventurous to say the least. It's I guess that's, I put on here that what I was going to talk about was, all on expectations and just going with the flow the best you possibly can. Because the last 24 hours of my life has definitely been about expecting one thing to happen and having something else happen that actually, like, expecting, this great scenario, and then I hope, I pray to God that it is not actually a sign of what 2019 is going to be like. But if it is, well, then at least it's going to keep everything playful for sure, and definitely teach the lesson of not having the expectations that we tend to put on things. I think that the biggest lesson that I have learned from the last 24 hours is that over and over again, I've experienced somebody saying, oh, this will happen, or this is this, or this is that, including myself, thinking that something was going to happen and then it flipping and being something completely different. On the front side of things, I should probably drink some more. Drank too much tequila last night. But on the front side of things, I definitely looked at different things and I was like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. I'll say yes to it, because I kind of designated 2019 to be my, hey, good afternoon, Lance. Hey, Tanya. I designated 2019 to be a yes year, to be focused in on health, recovery, really getting stable in different ways, physically speaking, because 2018 really did its number on me physically with a whole bunch of different physical trauma that took place. So I'm looking at rebuilding the physical body, but also with that, to make the year all about being a yes, being a fuck yes to self, and not hesitating on saying yes to self, no matter what that might mean, in, letting other people down, or not always doing exactly what is expected of me, but to just go ahead and say, fuck yes, I can do this. Yes, I want that. Yes, I desire that. Yes, that sounds fun. Yes, yes, yes. Or maybe that's a no, because it doesn't sound right. It doesn't align, because that means that we're being a fuck yes to ourselves, right? So that's where I'm at. I'm looking at, like, I want 2019 to be my fuck yes year. I'm going to be saying yes to myself in a lot of different ways, really, really owning up to different things. But with that, I started out, I was like, okay, last day of 2018, I'm going to say yes to some things. So I allowed for changes to happen in in the flow of my evening. And as I really opened up and allowed for different changes to happen, let's just say that the universe said, let's see how you go and do with this. And right down to, I was supposed to go to this gala last night, and I did go to a gala last night. Not the gala that I anticipated, or anybody that was with me anticipated. It definitely just was one of those moments where you had to just kind of laugh through things. You had to go, wow, the expectation was set way the fuck up here, and we got over here in this zip code of stuff, going on. So it really is just about, like, learning how to let go of certain things. It was definitely finding the humor, finding the joy, finding the connection in that, and just breathing into the moment and realizing, it's okay. It's okay. I'm here. Maybe this is not exactly what I anticipated. Maybe it's not exactly what I was told or what I had read about it, that it is something definitely different. But there is a reason why this is happening, why I am here nonetheless. So to change the expectation level to go with it. Flash forward, I had a whole bunch of little stuff happen over from that. Well, prior to the gala, I had some stuff happen, but that was all really little stuff. And then after the gala event, showed up at this gala, ended up saying, okay, this is not at all what I thought that it was going to be, not what it was sold to be at all. So, but hung out, had, too much tequila. Had too much tequila. I still enjoyed the night, and then allowed myself to just kind of get carried into that. And what ended up was that I was out to lunch today. I was out to lunch grabbing what should have been a quick meal, right? I went to one of my favorite little places if you're in Texas, Cafe Brazil. Was down at Cafe Brazil and walked in, and it was pretty crowded. It turns out that they were the only place that was open. Everybody else was closed around them. So walked in there and stood and waited for a table for like 20 minutes, and nobody came and talked to us. I mean, like, part of me just wants to write that bad review and go, yep, that was it. But at the same time, again, expectations. Sat down, they said, oh yeah, it'll take about 10 minutes for the food to get here. 55 minutes later, the food had gotten there, and then they didn't bring the silverware, and then, asked for syrup. I actually ended up walking over to a stranger's table and getting syrup for French toast from this complete and total stranger. I was just like, hey, are you down with that? Can I have it? Because our waiter has fallen off the face of the planet. So, it's one of those things of just, again, setting the expectations. Notice I said that they told me that the food was going to be ready in 10 minutes, 55 minutes later. This is where expectation comes in. The lesson of this conscious coffee, being really focused on setting the tone for expectations and really, going with the flow. I'm probably going to write a brief little article on this sometime today or tomorrow. But one of the things that I realized is that sometimes it's okay. You can go with the flow. And then there is the inexcusable moments and where you really just have to own up to your fuck up. And that is one of those things that I think that really comes to play with when we set an expectation, much like my waiter today, who said that it'll probably take about 10, when asked, how long is it going to take on the food? Because it's crowded. I figured 20 minutes or so, I know that I'm ordering a simple meal, but I was anticipating it would take longer than normal. And then he goes, oh, it'll only take like 10 minutes. And then found out that they had actually lost the order and all this different stuff, and then didn't want to make right on it. And, it was just bad service that followed up. So there was no ownership of the fuck up. There was no, hey, I'm sorry that happened. There was no, let me make that right, or let me try to make that right, or we'll get right on that and actually stick to it. Now, this is a waiter. This is a restaurant. It's not that big of a deal. Can definitely let it go. Got the check reworked at the end, like not going to pay the bill that was set before me on that things needed to be cleared and made right. Probably made his day not so happy, my waiter, because he was not getting what he thought he was getting. But with that comes that there is that expectation that was set on that front side. Where in your life are you starting your new year, the first day of 2019? What kind of expectations have you set out there? What kind of things have you already said? Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I mean, we are in New Year's resolution week, okay? New Year's resolution week. Everybody's proclaiming, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And this is where we say, I'm going to go lose 20 pounds. I'm going to have a rock hard body. I'm going to go make $1 million. I'm going to, do this in my relationship. I'm going to focus in on a weekly date with my spouse. I'm going to, take this off the table for my wife and make sure I'm going to do this with my kids. I'm going to do this with this. Whatever the fuck your resolutions are, folks. We all have those goals, those resolutions for 2019. We want 2019 to be better than 2018. We want ourselves to be improving and moving forward. Well, when you're setting those things out there, the things that we are putting out there, realize that when we vocalize, when we put that stuff out there to the people in our lives, and when we start saying, I'm going to do, what we are doing is we're almost setting ourselves up for failure. I actually encourage you to pick stuff and hold it. hold it and allow yourself to grow. Don't just blab it all out there. Don't just share. Only share the things that you need to really be supported and backed on, okay? Which is also kind of like moving into the land of having a coach. Having a support system, somebody there. It doesn't have to be a professional coach that's going to hold you accountable to things. It could be a friend. It could be a sister. It could be your partner. It could be somebody like that. But to only do that with certain things that you really know that you need to be held accountable for, and then allow yourself to be held accountable. Okay, allow yourself to be held accountable. If you are wanting to go and set out a whole bunch of different stuff, realize that the more you say, oh, I'm going to do this, that you actually cause a spinning cycle of change to happen. Change does not come easily. Change causes chaos. Change causes turbulence. Change flips your fucking boat over and makes you swim and makes you think that you're going to drown and makes you think all this different stuff and makes you start grasping and fighting for what you want. And only the strong survive in that. So that's like, that is what you have to be prepared for. So how many things are you actually throwing out there? As a coach that works with lots and lots of people on lots of different topics, I can tell you that the smartest thing that you can do is, number one, limit those expectations to 3 to 5 things max. 3 to 5 things max. And I would actually keep it at like the 3 thing, okay? Like, only focus in on 3 major things for the year of 2019. Okay, that is it. You might go, oh, but that's not going to change my world, Kendall. That's not going to do this. That's not going to do shit for me. I've got big goals. I've got big goals you don't understand. I'm going to completely go and rock this thing out. I don't have to just focus on 3 things. I can handle more. The more you try to pack in, then you're basically becoming a jack of all trades and a master of none, okay? And it is better to master a couple of things over the course of a year and really build a strong muscle with them than to try to do all of this other stuff and just cause complete and total chaos in your life, because that's going to cause anxiety. That's going to cause frustration. That's going to be overwhelm and stress. It's going to actually force things to pull apart. Okay, it's going to put pressure on you where you don't need to have pressure put. Okay, so let go of some of that shit that you might have out there that you might think needs to be dealt with. Really look at, what are those big rocks that you need to deal with? What are the 3 biggest pieces that you really need to deal with in 2019? Focus in on that. And make sure that they are in 3 different brackets of your life. If you have business goals, what's the most important business goal that you need to do? What's the number one thing that you need to focus in on? Because from that number one thing, you're going to have a whole bunch of other things that you need to do and achieve in order to accomplish that number one thing. If you have so one thing in business, one thing for work, maybe one thing for, expanding your education or something like that, depending on where you're at in life. Then look at another area of your life. Do you have a relationship that's in your life that you really want to focus in on, that you really want to improve in some way? Well, then pick the main thing for that relationship that would make a humongous impact. So let's say you're married and you just don't go out on dates anymore. Well, then commit to going out on a date every single week with your partner. Something as simple as that. And not turning on your phone. Oh my God. I was at this really nice restaurant last night eating buffalo. I argued with them. It was bison. And they're like, oh, tomato. Like, I didn't really argue, but I just brought up the point that it's not buffalo, it's bison. Oh, let me get out of my heels. I forgot my shoes at home. I ended up not driving yesterday and left my shoes at home. So I have been in. Check these puppies out. Aren't they pretty? They're really pretty, right? Really pretty shoes. But look at this. Look at this. Whew. So here I am. Grabbed change of clothes, grabbed all this stuff just in case I didn't make it back to my house, which I didn't, and went ahead and now I've been running around all day. Cafe Brazil, which is a really relaxed, chill place, and I'm in those things, and a fur jacket and jeans and an easygoing shirt. Kind of funny, but really just focusing in on, like, if that's the family, if it's the relationship stuff that you want to focus in on, then focus in on, like, that date. Because guess what? That date without phones, as I was going to say, because here I was at this restaurant last night and I looked around and there's all these couples all these couples on New Year's Eve having a romantic dinner, right? And you know what they're doing? They're both sitting there with their fucking phone. They're into their phone. They're Facebooking. They're doing this. They're doing that. They're doing all this different stuff, and they're not connecting. So I guarantee you that if one of your goals is to work on your relationship for 2019, the best thing you can do is commit to a connection date, which means no cell phones, no going to the movies. Actually get to know your partner again. Actually connect to that other human being that is right there with you, okay? Pay attention to them. For my gosh, it's not going to kill you. Just 2 hours, okay? Just 2 hours. Just connect to that other person. And you know what? If you don't have a relationship in your life and you want a relationship in your life and you're the single dating person out there, well, number one dating tip is ding, 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 ding. You got it? Yep. Guess what it is? Be fucking present on your date. Don't pick up your cell phone. Don't even bring it out of your purse, ladies. Guys, put it in your pocket and forget about it. You want to show somebody how much that date means to you. You want to show them who you really are. You want to actually build connection. You want to actually get to know them. You want to know if you want to have a second or third date or something else more intimate with them. Then take the time to actually get to know them and spend that time with them and not with your fucking phone on. Okay, so turn it off. Turn off the phone. Not really turn it off. Turn it on vibrate. Turn it on silent. Put it someplace where you don't see it. Don't lay it out on the table. Just connect with that other human being. Okay? And then probably you have health goals, right? Everybody's got these health goals. Want to have the perfect bikini body by summertime to go on the trip or to do this or to do that. Or maybe you just want to get healthier, lose weight, tone up, whatever. Maybe you got diagnosed with something last year and this year you really want to focus in on your health or something. Well, then pick the number one thing that you need to be doing for your body there. Maybe it is a combo of looking at diet and exercise. Then do that. Commit to something. But you see, folks, right there, what did I do? I took on 3 different areas of life. I took on business work. I took on relationship, love, romance, right? Your sex, connection, dating, whatever that might be. And I took on health. If you try to tackle anything more than like 3 things like that, those are 3 big things. Look at the commitments made right there, just in those 3 things. If you try to commit to more than that over the course of a year, you will probably throw yourself out of your own wagon and you're going to be swimming over there with the sharks because it's going to come down and it's going to really tackle you. It's going to be too much, which means that you're now setting the expectation for yourself up too high, which at the end of the day, if you set the wrong expectations for self and you don't deliver to yourself, forget everybody else. Forget everybody else on the expectations. If you don't deliver to yourself, then that is going to give more evidence for you to doubt your own worthiness, your self-love. You're going to have more things to not forgive yourself about. You're going to have more guilt. You're going to have more shame. You're going to have more disconnect. You're going to be beating the shit out of yourself instead of actually just doing what you need to do for you. So keep the expectations small, okay? And bring your stuff that you want to change, that you want to focus in on for growth, for potential for 2019, down to like 3 things. If you really want to push it, do 5, but don't do more than that, okay? And then brace yourself for the change. Like brace yourself by opening up. Okay, the more you can open up, the more you can embrace it and accept it, the more it's going to flow through you. Trying to control the change is going to cause a bumpy ride, okay? So much like my last 24 hours, I had a whole bunch of stuff happen that was not planned on. Right down to I ordered an Uber and got into a Lyft. And it was interesting. And then he's like, no, I work for only Lyft. I'm going, but I was on the Uber app. Oh, but it was the right license plate, had the right names, all that different stuff. I paid Uber, but he was a Lyft. I don't know how that works. But lots and lots of little things that definitely set the tone for the last 24 hours. And I think that really it is the tone that can be set for our lives in general. And to focus in on how you can just kind of move with it and go with it. But then at the same time, know that there are certain parts that you don't have to go with it. There are certain things that you need to kind of hold strong on, hold firm on, and say, no, I'm not okay with that. That's called boundaries. That's called honoring self. When we say, fuck no, I'm not okay with that. Now, getting into a Lyft when I ordered an Uber, as long as I'm paying the man and as long as he takes me from point A to point B and he's not some psychopath, I don't really fucking care, right? Don't really care. End up at a gala event, sure. Tickets were purchased, all this different stuff. Had one expectation, thought that this was going to happen, thought that that was going to happen. Didn't happen. A little bit more of a disappointment, a little bit of frustration, like, oh, I wanted this to occur. And unfortunately, like my restaurant service, there was a boundary. There was a boundary there because it became from, oh, we're really busy to just shitty ass service. And then them leaning on busyness as I watched the place clear out and I sat there with no food still on my table and going, all right, you flipped the tables behind me 3 times and they got fed. And 3 different groups of people got fed, but I didn't get fed over here. Now there is a boundary, right? So that is set one. There was an expectation set. There was this happening. It's not that big of a deal. It did put an extra hour of chaos into my day, made me run late for other things, all this different stuff. I really fucking needed food. I was starving. So I had to actually in that moment stand strong and say, no, this is not okay. This is not okay. I'm not going to allow this to happen. I'm worth more. I'm going to hold to a boundary. I'm going to say, no, something needs to happen here. So using just those examples, it really is just looking at your world, at the things that are going on. And the big thing is to not be guilty of doing that, right? Things happen in our lives. Other people do things in our life. And they show up however they show up. And we get our own expectations out of our desires. Sometimes we have a desire and we put a false expectation on somebody else and we try to block out and don't hear where they're at, what they're saying, or see what they're doing, and so we're not really respecting who that person is. Here is a perfect space for us to become more conscious, more aware of what is actually going on there and go, whoa, that's not you, that's me setting an expectation for you. So own where you are doing that with other people, because your world is going to get a heck of a lot more joyous, a lot more peaceful if you can own that instead of pointing and reflecting outward to others and making it this person's fault and that person's fault and this and they didn't live up to this and they No, step the fuck out of victim mode. Step out of victim mode. Own that. See where you crossed over, where you set that expectation, and then also realize, where are you setting expectations for other people? So how are you setting expectations? How are you showing up? What are you saying? What are you doing? What are you writing? What are the things that you are communicating to the people in your life? And what are the things that you are communicating to yourself? And that's the biggest one. It is really, truly, get selfish here, okay? Make 2019 a little bit more selfish. Get selfish and say, what am I saying to myself? What am I committing to myself? What are the things that I'm telling myself? Because if I'm setting the wrong expectations for myself, then I'm going to let myself down. And that's not going to be good, okay? That's not going to be good. So under promise, over deliver, basic sales, basic service, okay? That's the way it should be, even with self. Bring the notch down, make it believable for yourself. Yes, you got to expand your dreams out. Yes, you got to push. You need to be out there on the raggedy edge, okay? You got to be out there on the raggedy edge. I'm not telling you to set your goals in such a comfort zone that they're boring, that you're not going to grow. No. Push yourself out to that raggedy edge where your heart is racing a little bit, where you've got a little bit of jitter in your stomach. You're like, whoo, can't believe that I'm going to do this. Can't believe that I'm going to commit to this. And just push yourself just right there, right where you're like, oh, this is scary and exciting and fun. And I'm growing and this is amazing. But don't go and push yourself out there into the galaxies that are past that, where it's so unbelievable that you're calling, that's bullshit, before you even get the words onto paper or the thought fully thunk, okay? So you want to really be cautious as to where you're at in there, okay? I asked one person, it was about money, and I had said something about like, imagine, you want to make an extra $10,000 a month. And they looked at me and they were like, yeah, that sounds great, but, and what it was, as I backed down, I was like, how about an extra $5,000 a month? Oh, I don't know, I don't think I have the time for that. I don't really have the da-da-da-da. It was excuses. When I hit $1,000, when I said, imagine making an extra $1,000 a month, the person lit up. They were like, oh, I could see that. Yeah, I can see that. That's believable. I can believe making an extra $1,000 a month. I was like, okay, now here we go. Belief, because without that, guess what? You're not going to get anywhere. So that particular person could only believe an extra $1,000 a month. $1,000 a month extra is a big damn freaking deal, right? For any of us, an extra grand is an extra grand. If you can believe that you can make an extra 10,000, then that is it. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Yourself knows when you're lying to yourself, okay? If you feel that little bullshit thing popping up, I don't care how much you psych yourself up. I don't care how much self-talk you do, how much you're like, oh, no, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. No. Just don't lie to yourself, okay? Don't do that. Be real. Be truthful. No, figure out where that flow is. Get right with your expectations. Question yourself. Inquire. Remain the witness. Keep tabs on this right here. And pay attention to this right here. This is your guidance system, okay? And this right here, this is your I'll get fucked up system, okay? This right here is going to cause you to spiral if you let it control, if you let it lead. Let this lead this. So in other words, that means that something greater than this and this has to come about. And that's called your consciousness. That's called your soul. That's called alignment to source, to God, to whatever you want. Okay? Pay the fuck attention to what is out there, what is speaking to you and guiding you towards what you actually need to be doing, the steps for you to take. Okay? And that is going to come from the feelings that you're having, which is going to tell you the thoughts that you are thinking, okay? And that is going to lead you to the actions that you need to be making. So, there you go. Watch the expectations. Go with the flow. Set some good, hard boundaries. Don't be afraid to say fuck no to something. Remember that that's being a fuck yes to yourself, okay? Make 2019 absolutely amazing. If you want further help on any of this, definitely check out my Boss Life 500. It's a phenomenal opportunity to really kickstart 2019. Here we are in January now, January 1st, guys. And, if you really, really, really would like a good hand-holding, swift kick, lots of love and support, and guidance on how to manifest the world that you want, the desires that you have, and to create that Fuck Yes 19, be sure to check out my Boss Life 500, which is just running for the month of January, limited to 10 people, and guess what? I can work with you anywhere in the world. Addison has just posted the link to that on here. Be sure to check that out. I only have a couple spots left on that, so sign up. This is perfect if you are one of my clients and you're watching this and you want to actually take advantage of it. This is a perfect add-on to really kickstart your year to any of those programs. I do work one-on-one and mentorship with people as well, which is a whole nother thing. You can feel free to message me on that. I have a whole bunch of programs out there, but Boss Life 500 is designed to really kickstart your 2019. As always, everybody, I love you, and stop existing and start living. Bye, guys.